Brooklyn Community Service provides comprehensive programs for thousands of children, adults, and families in need, and has done so for over 150 years. Immediately after Superstorm Sandy, BCS launched relief and recovery efforts in one of the hardest hit impact zones, Coney Island. By working in close coordination with local community groups, BCS was able to provide both immediate recovery-related support and become a partner in long-term efforts to meet the community's needs. BCS has served over 5,200 Coney Island residents since the storm, due in large part to hundreds of volunteers from the New York City area and around the nation. Volunteers today are sorting and assembling clothes for families with infants who have had all of their belongings destroyed by raging winds and waters of the hurricane. Thanks to a $2.1 million federal block grant, BCS will expand and enhance its disaster care management programs, add family counseling programs, and implement a new youth development program for those affected by the storm. For more information on BCS, go to www.wearebcs.org.
I'm Lisa Jones, the Director of the Coney Island Recovery Effort for Brooklyn Community Services, and this is...
I'm Todd Gorman, a volunteer lawyer here.
Yeah, Todd's been a volunteer actually quite a while with us at BCS. I just wanted to share that Todd, you came to us, and why did you want to volunteer with us?
Well, I heard a little bit about BCS and the great work they did in the community, and that was initially why I came here. And then I met Lisa, who was back in January involved with Coney Island Relief, and she pulled me into all the efforts there.
I wanted to say that the volunteers that we have here, some of them are one-shot deal volunteers, and some volunteers kind of come and stay with us for a long time. Todd came to us, and like most volunteers, he got on the phone, he started calling people, and really felt and understood the need of volunteers that would help with such a disaster that we were hit by. And it was really, really, really helpful. It's really critical for us to have volunteers here at BCS, because without volunteers, there's no way we could impact or make the change that we need to make in Coney Island. We basically have, this year alone, we had like 96, almost 100 volunteers, and some of those were one-shot, where they came to an event, they did an event such as a distribution, or they came and they called people who had, we have right now about over 1,000 families in our database. All of those families came to us, have been affected by the storm. With our department is fairly small. There was no way without volunteers we could reach them. So we have volunteers that come and they get on the phone like Todd did. What was that like?
Well, it was interesting. I didn't know what to expect. When I first made the phone calls, I heard all types of tragedy, people ripped from their homes. And there were a few that I followed up with. And every time I followed up with somebody, it led to more and more need and more issues. And what I found with Coney Island is the hurricane created a lot of need.
My name's Damian Fazzolari. I'm at Brooklyn Community Services in Brooklyn, and we are separating clothing for the Hurricane Sandy relief in Coney Island. We've accumulated quite a few donations that we're trying to break down for, right now, newborns to toddlers, and spread out to families that are in need. I'm a bartender, so I need something to make me feel better about humanity. And I went to school for education, and I've been trying to work my way into just having a more philanthropic life in general.
My name is Mike Mansfield. I'm 77. I'm retired. I grew up with such a strong work ethic that after I retired, unless I was doing something, I might have gone crazy. So here at Brooklyn Community Services, I've been volunteering for 4, 5, 6 years, something like that. I also do volunteer work for the Brooklyn Botanic Garden. And between those two, that kind of fills out my week enough so that I'm still sane.
On 9/11/1814, Britain began its invasion of Baltimore with the largest invasion in U.S. history. It landed 5,000 battle-seasoned professional soldiers at North Point, planning to march the short distance to capture Baltimore. American militia forces, ordinary citizens rather than professional soldiers, blocked the British path into Baltimore. On September 12th, at the Battle of North Point, the militia inflicted serious casualties on the British forces, delaying their progress toward Baltimore. On the next day, September 13th, the British began their naval attack on Fort McHenry in Baltimore Harbor. Unable to defeat Fort McHenry and unable to enter Baltimore by land, the British subsequently retreated back down the Chesapeake Bay. Americans were overjoyed at their success defending Baltimore. Today we meet reenactors who gather each year to recreate the little-known Battle of North Point, Maryland. We will meet some for whom this is truly a family affair.
We're the Chris Jones family, and we're here volunteering. Volunteering is a family thing.
I would say that if there's one benefit to this, it's you get to walk through history in ways that other people don't get to.
Attention!
It's just like fun because you get to like participate in history, and also like I get to hang out with my family because they've been doing this for a long time.
You meet a lot of people and you meet a lot of kids, and that's what the future's about, seeing these kids come and their eyes go wide when you show them how to do something, how to play a game, what the dollies looked like back then, what the boys played with. That's it.
And if you don't get your spouse involved one way or the other, you wind up getting divorced. It's as simple as that.
And sometimes you meet your spouse doing things like this. Spike and I met doing this. His group came down from Canada and I met him and we got married. In fact, today is our 21st wedding anniversary.
They got married here.
And we got married here at the park.
Married 100 yards up the road. Most of the guys in the green uniforms here are members of a scout troop. So this is a year-round activity for the scout troop.
And this is what we growed into, what you're looking at here. The tents, the uniforms, the rifles, and everything. We've been doing reenacting now, seriously reenacting, for over 25 years. We've been to New Orleans, we've been to Fort Erie, Fort Niagara, Fort York up in Toronto, Chippewa, Lundy's Lane, Bladensburg, just about every place there was a battle during the War of 1812, we've been there.
It's something you can do as a family. It's historical, so you can learn something. And honestly, every trip you take out doing a reenactment, you learn something new. Not dealing with a cell phone at a reenactment or having cars to go back and forth. It makes you understand a little bit more about where everyone came from and how things are now. You meet people, you talk to them, you educate them sometimes you just make them smile. It becomes a hobby, and then from a hobby it becomes something that's just fun to do. So I recommend it.
Hello, I'm Carrie Keenan. In the studio with me is a man who has made a career of improving the world around him. We are with Bruce Adams, the director of the Office of Partnerships for Montgomery County. So Bruce, tell me how the county government seeks to engage resident volunteers.
Well, what makes our community so great, and many communities around the country, is people's willingness to roll up their sleeves and make a difference. It's a win-win-win situation. It's good for the community, it's good for the people in the community you're helping, and it's really great for individuals to be involved. So in Montgomery County, Maryland, we make a special effort to recruit volunteers. One thing we started 27 years ago was a community service day in October. It's become Make a Difference Day nationally. And that's a way to get people out. You know, there's always a few people in your family or your business or your congregation who just sort of really don't want to volunteer, and you say, well, come on along with us, we're doing this project, and they say, well, my 2 hours couldn't possibly make a difference. So these days of service that we have, Martin Luther King Day, Community Service Day, Make a Difference Day, they're designed so you say to that person, well, if 5,000 people are out there, won't their 2 hours make a difference? And they'll say, okay, I'll go. And then they go and they say, wow, this is great. I had a great time. I want to come back. So the days of service is one way we try to hook folks in and get involved. In the state of Maryland, we have student service learning hours. So all the students to graduate from high school have to do some community service. So they get to see how wonderful and rewarding service is. We have in the county government, we went to a local corporation, and they redid our website, so it's montgomeryserves.org. So we really put a premium on that. We have a volunteer center in our Office of Community Partnerships in the county government that works with a corporate volunteer council that's outside and works with businesses.
So you're really hitting all aspects. You're starting with the students, you're hitting corporate, and then you're also hitting the community as a whole.
We try, and we have a federal RSVP grant, which is a federal grant that helps us focus on seniors.
Okay, so you're adding
We're trying to hit it. We're trying to reach out to everybody because volunteering is something that everybody can do.
Have you found that when people volunteer and they have such a positive experience that they encourage others to do so as well?
Absolutely, and that's why we have these days of service. On Martin Luther King Day, you know, is a day on, not a day off. Martin Luther King would not have wanted people sitting around watching TV and skipping school and not going to work to celebrate him. That's no way to celebrate Martin Luther King. So we have a day of service, and we have developed in a large conference center that we have, we'll get 3,000-4,000 people coming through there in an afternoon, and that's become a family thing. So parents can bring their young children to volunteer. And one table they're making sandwiches for the homeless, and the next they're writing letters to our troops abroad, and the next they're maybe making crafts for folks at the children in the local hospital. So they're doing a range of fun things. So it's a way to engage the young folks in the value of volunteering.
Excellent. Okay, so you talked about Martin Luther King Day as a day of service, being a day on instead of a day off. So can you tell our audience about that, a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so what we've done is we've made a big deal, and this is done nationally, it's done in many communities. I think Philadelphia is really noted for, they turn out just, the Philadelphia region turns out a gazillion people on Martin Luther King Day. And so different communities use that as a way, again, to introduce folks to the concept of volunteering. What we're trying to do in our county, we have this one really successful site where we'll get 3,000 or 4,000 volunteers, but we're a county of 1 million people, so we're now trying to make sure that we have more volunteer sites around the county, and we're trying to work with some businesses to get them to step up and say, wow, that's a good day of service for us as well.
Have you found that many of the local businesses are encouraging their employees to do something or helping to even organize and send groups of their employees out to different places? Absolutely.
Volunteering for corporations is a great team building effort. You know, when everybody's got their blue jeans and their work outfit on, and maybe the alleged boss of the organization that day is the one, you know, digging the hole, the plan is not necessarily in charge of the event. It's a great team building event because everybody's kind of equal, and different people can show different skills, and it's a great way to test leadership of sort of middle level manager folks. Can that person go develop that? So there's leadership skills and team building skills. Montgomery County is one of many jurisdictions that has a corporate volunteer council. Ours just won a big national award, but we try in the county government to really support that organization and help them reach out to these businesses. But many businesses just on their own understand that volunteering and community service are a great asset to their business.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, switching gears, you founded the Big Train Baseball. and you've served on many boards in addition to your position in the county to help develop partnerships. Can you share about your feelings of why you do what you do?
Well, there's nothing more rewarding than volunteering, than helping other people. It is the most satisfactory thing that you can do in life. And you know, a lot of people, we're a lucky, relatively affluent community, and yet the local magazine, Bethesda Magazine, just did a piece on why are these people who are so rich and well off unhappy. And I'm going to write them a letter to the editor and say, well, you know, happiness comes from service to others. And so I'll give them the website in Montgomery County, the montgomeryserves.org. I mean, if you're unhappy, go find some way to help somebody else, and it'll make you happier. There's plenty of literature that says it'll extend your life. It's a great thing to do in retirement. We had a meeting recently where we invited folks 50 and better to come to okay, you're thinking of retiring, you're retired, and you want to find something to do. And I was sitting next to a little sign that said no more than 65 people allowed. I was really glad the fire marshal wasn't there. It was like standing room only in the middle of the afternoon for how can you volunteer to help your community. People understand that it will lengthen their life and improve their life immeasurably to be of service to other people.
So many benefits
Yep.
at any age.
Absolutely.
Today we were here with Bruce Adams, Office of Community Partnerships. With Travel Television, this is Carrie Keenan.
Saudek, a bustling village along the river, which is akin to stepping back in time. Imagine what it would be like 70, 80, 150 years ago. Pretty much as you see it today. In a market like this, you can literally find anything. Today I'm going to try a local treat, something known as durian.
Just grab it, like this? All right. So I got a piece of it. What do you do? Just see how it tastes. Interesting.
Interesting? All right, that's a bad choice of words. This stuff they call the king of fruits my ass. It smells like a garbage dump in the middle of summer and has the texture of rotting flesh. Thank God this wasn't my last memory of Saudek. For as I wandered the village, I was greeted by these wonderful smiling faces.
The nonprofit Go Eat Give would like to engage volunteers by connecting people, places, and palates. Working out of their hometown in Atlanta and through voluntary vacation trips, including Cuba, Go Eat Give strives to foster smaller nonprofit organizations that do good locally. Travel Television spoke with founder Sucheta Rawal.
We like to showcase other nonprofits that people would have never heard about and don't have a voice in the global environment. So you may be going with your church groups or large organizations who take you on volunteer trips, but the kinds of organizations we work with, they don't have that kind of reach or their means to attract people from all over the world or to host them. So we are always looking out for those kind of smaller nonprofits we can support. Like the one we are going to next month is the Bali Children's Project. And they are so small, they cannot even afford to advertise. They have a small website, and we have to pay them a donation to be able to volunteer with them so they can have the extra staff to do it. I had a group of women who went to Peru, and they volunteered in delivering food to old homes. Basically, other women who are older women living on their own, and going door to door delivering the food. And they came back in tears because you don't think about that when you go to Peru and you're visiting Machu Picchu and not knowing anything beyond the tourist surface of the country. When you actually interact with the locals and you're seeing how they live, then you realize that they are so much like us, that there are hardly any differences. And that could be our grandmother, wherever they are. They could be our parents in that situation. And how would it be if somebody from another culture came to visit them and deliver them food when they need it? I also had some people who went to Spain. You wouldn't think about volunteering in Spain, but they have 30% unemployment, especially in the age of 30 and under. So we were teaching English for 7 days in Segovia to these people who can go find jobs and work in a global environment. And one of the girls who came back, this trip was in October, she actually decided to move to Spain this year and be an English teacher there permanently.
What do you get when you mix together water, shredded paper, and sawdust? Well, mostly just a mush. But when you mold it together, press it, and dry it out, it creates a viable heat source for the Afghan community.
About 100 service members showed up this morning to help create as many fire donuts and fire bricks as they could. There were airmen, soldiers, sailors, and even Romanian soldiers who came out to help the cause.
It's an easy job. I want to help these guys. Everybody knows Afghanistan is a poor country, and they deserve our help. It's not my first time when I work with Americans. We talk together, we make fun, jokes, and we work at the same time.
Whether you are making what they call a fire donut or a fire brick, it all starts with the mixing. Shredded paper, sawdust, and water are all mixed together in big buckets. The mixture is then stuffed into molds to give it its shape. The molds are then taken to the pressers, where they squeeze out all of the excess water and compact the mixture. Then they are removed from the molds and left out to dry for about a week. On this day alone, about 600 fire donuts and bricks were made.
They're given to the Afghans to assist with keeping their homes warm during the winter months. So this is more of an outreach to assist in winning the hearts and minds of the Afghani people here.
The fire donuts not only provide warmth to the Afghan community, but it also gives them something clean to burn to help reduce pollution. Though they may be finished today, most of these service members will be out next week to make more. Senior Airman Anthony Hetledge, Camp Phoenix, Afghanistan.
Hi, my name is Mary. I'm in New Jersey. I was a victim of Hurricane Sandy, and I have lived in this house all my life. I'm not giving it up. I am a widow. I work with a school teacher's salary, so insurance didn't cut it, credit cards didn't cut it, and if it wasn't for the volunteers, I don't know how I would have ever gotten anything done outside my property. All right, I am so grateful for the 3 groups that I've had come. They've helped me move large pieces of furniture. They've helped me lay carpeting down. I've had people come and clean out my whole garage. Still working on the garage, and now I have some people here helping me with the yard work. It's a wonderful thing. I am also a volunteer too, so whenever you can give back, it makes you feel good. I've been fortunate to have 3 groups of volunteers come. I had 2 groups come from some churches in West Virginia. They were a lot of fun, strong college students, very, very helpful. I've had people from a church locally now in New Jersey, and they're the ones helping me today in the background. And I think that they're doing a wonderful job, and I also have participated in volunteer activities also. In the long run, if it wasn't for the volunteers coming and helping, I would still be probably in another home. I'm so grateful that I had the help for moving furniture, which is something that I wasn't able to do. I'm grateful to have the help on the outside, which when you're not here for a while, nature tries to take over. And Hurricane Sandy has had a great impact financially and emotionally on myself and a lot of people in my neighborhood. It'll be a long time before we really feel like we're back to normal again, and we continue to need help. So if there are volunteer groups out there, don't give up on us yet. We still need you.
My name is Stacy Catron. I live in neighboring Eatontown, New Jersey. And our church, Reformation Lutheran Church, is in West Long Branch, which is only one community away. And we've been doing what we can to help out with the Sandy relief effort. From the beginning, we helped out with people who needed food with our food pantry. We helped out with people who needed clothing with our community clothes closet. And we've been hosting different people to stay at our church so they can go out and be relief workers. So we've decided today is an anniversary of our whole church, the Evangelical Lutheran Church of America, 25th anniversary, and to celebrate, we're helping out our neighbors.
Hi, my name is Julia. I go to Atchison School at the Tin Falls School District. We're in Oceanport, New Jersey. My whole family's doing Sandy relief. I figured it would be good to do some work here.
And that's part of our mission, you know, God's work through our hands. So even though what we're doing is right now pulling weeds and cleaning up debris, you know, we can see that it's really helping our neighbors, not just by doing the work, but making them feel needed and wanted. Even though it's been many months since Hurricane Sandy, we look around the community and we see that there's a lot of work that still needs to be done. There are families who are still not in their homes. There are families who are just now moving back into their homes. And only living maybe 5 miles away, I didn't realize that this community needed so much help still. And they still need more volunteers. And everyone can do something. You know, anyone can pull weeds. Anyone can just help with this relief effort.
It feels great to be a volunteer for Sandy Relief. It just makes you feel that you've done something for somebody else. And it makes not just you happy, but it makes the people that you help happy.